Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's Spotlight, which is brought to you by Georgetown branch number 5520, where we are here to educate, motivate, and activate. We have some really good information today. We have a whole bunch of topics to talk about, including the state, the fate of the steel mill, challenges going on in the school district. Marilyn is actually live at the Food, Beer, and Wine Festival. We have a grand opening of one of Gullah business, as well as we're going to talk about the young man that was wrongfully convicted of a murder. So please stay tuned and go ahead and share this video, and we're about to get started. Thank you.
Heavenly Father, we ask you to put a hand of protection.
All right. Good morning again. I'm going to go ahead and bring on our president, Mr. Marvin Neal. Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing, Ebony?
Doing pretty good. We're happy to see you today.
Oh, yeah. It's a great day. There's so much going on, even in celebrations. It's a great day today.
It's a wonderful day. So, we're not going to hold back. We have Miss Marilyn Hemingway. She's our second vice president. She's at the Food, Beer, and Wine Festival right on Front Street in Georgetown. Miss Marilyn, what's going on out there?
Hi, everybody. I really can't hear you because the music they're playing, Earth, Wind, and Fire out here. One of my favorite groups. So it's loud and it's crowded. But the weather is beautiful out here at the Georgetown Food, Beer, and Wine Festival. And as Gullah Geechee Chamber of Commerce, we are out here with some of our members and vendors with good food. And one of our vendors is Tasty Treats. And I'm going to just show you guys, if you can see, their tent is crowded. But you need to come on out and support our Black-owned businesses here at the Georgetown Food, Beer, and Wine Festival. There are over 20 restaurants, one of which is Arnie's Country Kitchen, which is also a member of the Gullah Geechee Chamber, and Tasty Treats. They're out of Charleston, and they have wonderful food, and they have Gullah rice, y'all. Gullah rice. All right, well, that's shrimp right there. Look, shrimp and okra. I don't know if you can see it.
Maryland.
Shrimp and crab meat and okra. All right, shrimp, crab meat, and okra. Yeah, I'm just spying here. And so y'all need to come on out and eat. Y'all come say hi. Say hi. Hi. Y'all come on out. And the food is wonderful. It's good. And of course, we know we got our own Jackie Williams out here with her family. And they're doing Bath and Body. Y'all gonna come back so we can talk about the food. They're out here with Bath and Body from Passage Products. Got some soap. And this is even wine soap. It's made out of wine. They got beer. It's made out of beer. And I understand it's good for your skin and everything. So you guys need to come on out and support all the businesses because the proceeds will actually benefit Friendship Place. So, we're all out here at the NAACP. We are about the community. The Gullah Geechee Chamber of Commerce, we are about the community. And, of course, supporting those who look like us, but also supporting everybody, especially someplace like Friendship Place that does so much for our community. But y'all come on out here. There's Tasty Treats with Michael Allen. And of course, they have jams and jellies and stuff like that, too. But really good stuff, y'all. So come on out and check it out. Hey, Michael, say hi. We're on Spotlight with the NAACP. Hey. This is Michael Allen.
Hey, how y'all doing today?
All right, and he is from Tasty Treats and a member of the Gullah Geechee Chamber and a huge supporter. And what's out here? What are you guys selling?
We have savory products. We have jams, jellies, Gullah Low Country seasonings, sweet treats, and then on top of all of that, we have a Gullah treat of red rice, mesh up, crab, shrimp, and okra. Slap the face.
Yeah, y'all.
So come on down.
They don't put their foot in it. They put their foot in that food.
And for you, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
21 years ago when I first came to the county, trying to build the Gullah Geechee Cultural Heritage Corridor. I would not know 22 years later I would be here today.
That's true.
Yes.
That's how things supposed to work, though. So y'all, we out here supporting each other. They have wonderful products, so y'all need to come on out. And look, they're putting up the price down. And of course, we're going to make a donation back to Friendship Place. But y'all come on out and support. The food is wonderful, and we're having a good time. And they're doing good music because they got Earth, Wind, and Fire. So, you know, I'm happy. I'm happy. Not really Earth, Wind, and Fire, but you know, close enough. Close enough. Yeah. So what else are we supposed to be talking about, y'all?
Hey, we want to tell you this.
Oh yeah, we had our seafood kickoff this past Thursday night. It was wonderful, and I know on Facebook the video is out on Facebook. Pilo Richards and Jackie Williams both recorded. Oh, look at that, a picture. That looks good. Y'all, we had wine. It was a really good time, and I really want to thank my community, thank my supporters, my board. Marvin is a member of the board of the Chamber Foundation for their support. And y'all, this is a $34 billion potential of Gullah Geechee Cultural Heritage Corridor. That's why we support businesses like Tasty Treats that are out here right now at the Georgetown Food Bear Wine Festival, because this is all of us working together, collaborating, and supporting our small and micro businesses in the Gullah Geechee community. So between the Gullah Geechee Seafood Kickoff and now the Georgetown Food Bear Wine Festival, this is just the beginning of us tapping into the $34 billion potential of Gullah Geechee cultural heritage tourism. And so that's why we're out here. And thanks y'all for coming to the kickoff. It really was a good time. And you know, good exhibit and good food and everything. So thanks y'all for all of that. And you know, I really can't hear you, right? But but y'all look happy. You look happy. I see smiles. So that must be a good thing.
Yes. Have a take care, Marilyn. And thank
all
you.
right, y'all come on out to the front street on Georgetown and support everything that's going on. And I'll see you guys later. Thank you very much.
Bye. She is excited, right?
She said she didn't want to come on. She's going to say one word.
She said a lot of words. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, man. That's what it's all about, man. Building communities. You know?
Absolutely.
Hey, one brick at a time.
One brick at a time. And for those of you who are just joining, thank you for joining the NAACP branch number 5520 Spotlight, where we're here to educate, motivate, and activate. We just had Miss Marilyn Hemingway come on and talk to us about the Gullah Geechee Seafood Trail Kickoff, as well as right now, the Food, Beer, and Wine Festival on Front Street in Georgetown is going on. So if you would, please give us a thumbs up. If you are watching this, go ahead and give us a thumbs up, because it really does help. But that's all well. But Mr. Neal, we also have some really serious topics that we need to go over. And one of them is we're going to talk about the challenges with the Georgetown County School District and with employment and wages. So we like to have fun, but at the same time, we don't need to lose sight of the things that we need to take care of in our community so we're all made whole. Mr. Neal?
Yeah, I mean, thank you for that. You know, and like you said, we have to be reminded, and also those that we put in positions need to be reminded also. We have our challenges with the and that's not just in Georgetown. We have our challenges across the nation with schools and fair treatment of just employees and fair wages. You know, and this is not a new topic. This is something that was going on that we recognize since 1997, when a consent decree was put into place. You know, to actually identify these challenges and help actually push the district towards some viable solutions. But it seems that, and they did a great job in some areas, you know, where they put the money at, they upgraded the schools and stuff of that nature. But one thing that they have not done is met the demands for fair labor, fair employment, and equality in these positions across the board. It's just not happening. You know, it's still too much. There's too much. I'll call it misfire. You know, you have, people sitting at the table, much more qualified than those that they're putting in the position. So it's like well, we're going to get you to the interview, but that's as far as you're going to get. And we'll put someone there to say, well, you really need to touch up in these areas or that area. Anyone can disqualify you in any position of employment if they choose to, or anyone could qualify you. It's a choice, but the choice should be fairness. It's that's where fairness or unfairness comes in at. People are set up on interviews to fail in interviews. When you're telling someone that you're all right after working with them for 16, 20 years and telling them, well, you don't interview well. What the hell that got to do with the job? This person been doing the job all this time, and to tell them that they don't interview well, they did not interview well, and bringing someone in brand new into the district, most of the time that was prepped for the interview or given the information, I would let you say, because there's so much crookedness going on right now. When it comes to employment. So, and we have to quit telling ourselves as Black people that's sitting in these positions that it's all right to say, well, they don't qualify. No, it's not all right. It's all right to say they qualify for these reasons. Quit saying they don't qualify. If you're going to say about those Blacks that sits on the board, that sits doing the interview and say they don't qualify, you do the same thing for those whites that's walking into the interview and say they don't qualify because they don't have the experience. We don't even know them. You see what I'm saying? If I know someone that's been doing this job for 16 plus years, and you're telling me that he don't qualify because he didn't do well in the interview or he was nervous, come on, let's get real about it.
Yep. Let's get real. In the same thing, we have President Marvin Hemingway of the Marion branch, issues and things like that going on. He's on top of these situations as we start talking about community issues, school district issues. Thank you for being in the fight with us and for watching today, President Hemingway from the Marion County. But if you have any questions or comments, please go ahead and post them because it could be featured on today's spotlight. So now, Mr. Neal, so employment and not hiring qualified people. Also, how does that correlate with the wages that staff and teachers are paid in the school district?
Well, what's happening, Ebony? The wages are being advertised as one thing. And we have leaders right now, even principals, Black principals that was brought in, that one wage was advertised, but they was brought in a lesser wage. We have Blacks that have to fight for the wages that was advertised, and whites that have walked into that school district and went from $40,000 to $72,000 a year, within the first week, as soon as he walked in, but it was advertised at $43,000. And these are the type of things that we are talking about. These are the type of things that we are reporting to the Department of Justice. And the school district needs to know that. Whoever's here, I know they're listening. It's fine. But we're reporting these issues to the Department of Justice. All these issues will be reported, and we're going to make sure folks is held accountable. Because we still have people right now had to file a lawsuit and still trying to get their wages. And this is what, 2-3 years ago, still trying to get their wages. We got principals that's been sitting in the position now, still haven't got the wages that they were advertised to get. But yes, still they accepted the job because of the need for them to be there to take care of these children. You know what I'm saying? So we have the zeal to do the work, the ability, and it's recognized across the state. Just look at Carver's Bay right now. State recognized school, one of the top schools in the state of South Carolina, and nationally recognized. For the students that they're Title I school that have put all these students into college and succeeding. They just got that recognition, Evan. And I haven't heard it yet from the school board. I haven't heard it in the paper. Anything else could go in the paper except those schools that has Black leadership that's doing great and well-to-do things. But you don't hear the name called. If it had something to do with recognizing the other school across the water, they'll get recognized as, third place in the tennis tournament or something. But right. Carver's Bay in the academic areas always been strong in academics.
Always
been strong in academics.
Yep.
And that's not new.
No.
What will be new if they treat them fairly? That will be new.
That's right. And it's important, y'all. That's why we encourage you. That's why we're putting the information out here. We really can't, for everything that's going on, we can't put it all here on Facebook. That's where you're going to need to participate in coming out to school board meetings. If you can't come out, they hold it online. View it then live or look at it later. We want you to get involved. So please get involved and participate. If you don't know how, reach out to us, make a comment today, and we can share with you maybe some opportunities that you can just sit in and listen in. You won't know what's going on because these are so many systematic issues that we need to address. And that's why we're going to, I know that we were supposed to be talking about elections. Local elections are going to be coming up. This is why it's important that we don't vote for our friends just because they are friends or because we know them or we know their dad or the parents or somebody. Vote for people that are actually really going to make good decisions, because when it comes down to our school board, what they're doing right now came about because of people who we voted for. Okay.
Yeah. And Ebony, another thing too, I really, and I really want to give a shout out to the school board members following this meeting the other night. And I have to say, they go through the schools. They visit the schools. And I could actually say that. Dr. Mike Cofero visits the school. Randy Walker visits the school.
Yep.
Gaskins, Bill Gaskins visits the school.
He does.
Actively involved.
Yep. In the community.
Ben Ford visits the school.
Visits.
All of them visit the schools, and they were actively engaged in the meeting the other night where we were talking about wages and why cafeteria workers, bus drivers, and janitors, custodians deserves $15 an hour minimum wage.
They deserve
$15 an hour. And the interesting thing in that conversation, Dr. Lance, he engaged the budget person there and say, why can't we do that? And her answer was, well, we just didn't think about that. Just think about that now. We just didn't thought about it. All the cry of poverty.
Yep.
And those that sitting at the top 6-figure job did not think about those that sitting on the bottom. Did not think about that. You know what I'm saying?
So
and Dr. Lance said, well, go back and come back and see if we could do that. And Randy Walker, Michael Farrow, and those, they engaged in that and say that's what we need to be talking about. So that's critical to us, and that's critical. That's why we need to elect strong school board members on their school board. We don't need to elect a Republican or Democrat. We need to elect school board members that's going to move our schools forward with equity and equality of education for our children. Because that's the only way we're going to grow out of this. And make sure they speak to the condition of these schools and the leadership.
Well, it's funny because the reason why they don't think about minimum wage needs to be at least $15 an hour. Keep in mind, I said at least. Minimum wage, as it pertains to the cost of living, should be about $21 to $24 an hour. So $15 an hour is really just a compromise. So if you didn't think that paying somebody less than $15 an hour to do those type of jobs is anything but fair, that means you're getting paid way more than $15 an hour because you're not thinking about anybody making less.
Not only that, Ebony, that means that they've been sitting in the position too long and they're doing traditional methods of systematic discrimination because their mindset is they don't deserve that. That's why it's time for them to be moved out of those positions. And that's what we are calling for. We are calling for those 25 retirees that's sitting on top of this school district. If they're not a teacher working back in the school district to uplift our children, and even our teachers is not getting paid fairly. You see what I'm saying? So if it's not a teacher that we're talking about, they need to go home. Bottom line, they need to go home. You got them sitting up there retired. Look at Alan Walters, 3 times retired, sitting up there sucking the gut out of the school district. The gut. He got a $30,000 raise walking through the door. I don't hear his voice on that. And here he is sitting on the state school board of education. He's the chairman now. So you tell me about that one.
It's
So
scary.
that's the attitude that he is sitting here in Georgetown County School District with. Imagine what's going to happen to the school district across the state if he's the chairman. And they're talking about minimum wage and equity and equality. Imagine that. Because I've never known him to be about equity and equality. Never. Even as a judge, never. It's always about povertizing our school children.
Yep, we must support actions that create equality through equity. It's no other way to do it, and it's no other way but to hold these folks accountable. Which is going to lead into a really good segue into the next topic, y'all. It's going to be about voting. June 14th is going to be primary elections. Okay, but just keep in mind, you can vote early. That's why if you're not sure of where, and because of redistricting, some people's precinct or where you vote has changed. You're going to need to go to SC. Oh Lord, I just had a brain fart right quick.
scvote.gov.
scvotes.gov. Thank you, Mr. Neal, to check and make sure where, so you'll know where to show up when it's time to vote, because you can vote as early as May 31st. That's coming up. And so you also need to make sure that your voters registration is clear. And so go ahead on and do that, so that, because the primaries, that's basically, they're going to be some other folks in there too, but it's going to be able to choose who's going to be able to be in the governor race.
Yeah, and the primary is just as critical as any other race, Ebony, because it brings out the best of the Democrats and the Republican, whoever they choose, whoever vote in those different areas, and independent or whoever wants to vote, Green Party or whoever. But in the governor's race this year, you have Carlton Boyd, you have Joe Cunningham, you have Mia McLeod, Calvin J. Macklin, and William H. Williams. I don't know who those are. But in the governor's race, we have had visitation. As a matter of fact, Joe Cunningham is visiting Georgetown today at 2:30 at the Winyard Auditorium, 2:30 today. So if you get a chance, go by and ask him the question, ask him a hard question. What is he going to do about education and equity and equality of minimum wage and stuff, in Georgetown? Because, you need to ask those questions. It shouldn't be, those questions are not designed for parties, designed to take care of people. Ask the question. What are you doing about minimum wage? I don't care who's in the seat. If they're not giving people what they need to live off, they serve no purpose, whether it's Democrat or Republican. So ask the hard question and demand an answer. What is he going to do? Why do you deserve to get my vote? That's what the question is for.
That's right. It doesn't need to. And how do you know who to vote for if you don't somehow begin to understand the platform of who you're voting for?
Yeah.
Again, don't vote just because you think, oh, I'm familiar with the person's name, or mama said vote for this person, or somebody said, oh, you need to vote for this person. No. Find out about these folks, then make a conscious decision. And there's even a website that you can go on to look and see what they were for and against in other points of legislative and things of that nature. So please do that. Now, the next topic that we're going to segue into.
But Ebony, also, we have to realize this year we have the superintendent of education race also, which is Gary Burgess, Lisa Ellis, and Jerry Govan. And in the U.S. Senate race, you have Catherine Flemings Bruce, Angela Jeter, and Crystal Matthews. I've heard Crystal Matthews, I've heard Lisa Ellis, and I've heard Mia McLeod and Joe Cunningham. I haven't heard the rest of them yet, but those three I have heard. So go out and vote and know who you're voting for.
Right.
Read the information. Don't just listen to your neighbor, and don't listen to us. Read the information for yourself and make a good choice based on how it would affect your livelihood.
Well, so we do have a question. Miss Obing here is on the line. Good morning, Miss Obing, and thank you for joining us. Mr. Neal, will there be any organizations taking individuals to the polls on the 14th?
Most definitely. We're putting things together right now. We still have neighbor to neighbor that we're tapping into. You still have the Democratic Party, which they're supposed to be mobilizing some units to get out there. We're asking some of the churches itself to get involved and stuff. We'll be tapping into that and sending information out to the churches within 14 days before the election and stuff. So just keep your ears open. Miss Obing, hey, just all the information and ideas that you have, bring it to the table, because we're looking for you also.
That's right.
Is one of the outreach coordinator for St. James Santee, and she is also on the
So,
planning the appeals board for the planning commission for the city of Georgetown. Very strong young lady. Matter of fact, we should have brought it on today, but we'll be bringing it on with the next couple of weeks to talk about what she does also and how she helps strengthen the community. She does a lot of work in the community.
So in regards to her question, just keep in mind, we're putting out a little bit of preliminary information now. As we get closer to the 31st, we will put out a number so that people can call. So if they need a ride, they can just call the number. Somebody can go ahead and head out, a volunteer to pick them up, take them to the pole if they need transportation. So thank you for all that you do in the community.
And we are encouraging people to go and call the election office and ask to be poll managers. Take the training. The training is just as important to know what to do when you're walking into the poll than to even be a poll manager. But the training is needed. So in case we need people, you'll be able to reach out into that pool and say, hey, I need you to go to so-and-so. And they pay well. So if you're available, please go take the training. The training is available now. Just call the election office. I think it's 545. I'll get back with you on the number. I think it's 5033, but I'll get back with you on the telephone number.
Yes. Thank you so much, all, for joining today's Spotlight, which is brought to you by Georgetown Branch NAACP, where we are here to educate, motivate, and activate. We have another serious conversation that we're going to have just here in a second. I know that you all have heard about the wrongful conviction of a man local here with that Brittany Drexel case here. Mr. Neal, can you tell us about this subject here? Really blows me away. And part of it is because they're trying for years to convict this man of this young lady's death. And they don't even, first of all, have enough evidence. And number two, I'm trying to understand, this man has one arm.
One arm, 16 years old. He lost his arm when he was 4 years old, Ebony. And going through the hearing, I think the mother had to remind the judge, because it wasn't part of the evidence, that this man had one arm. So these are crucial things when you're talking about burying someone, or getting rid of them, throwing them in a car trunk, whatever, to dispose of her body. One arm, 16 years old. And it's so impactful how it happened. And the person that really turned himself in, he was a person of interest from the beginning and known to have raped so many girls. I think it's 10 plus women in California.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That should have been a red flag right there when you're saying a 17-year-old girl. You're talking about a predator.
A predator.
A sexual predator. A 17-year-old girl. Over there, terrorizing these black communities in and out their community and stuff. And they had nothing to do with the black community. It was the white community where the body was even found. Over in Harmony East State. The killing was done by a white man. And people need to know that. A white man that's on his deathbed, supposedly. So he had a moment with the Grim Reaper.
That means he'll never be able to pay, not on earth anyway.
Yeah.
He will never pay for what he did. And meanwhile, you got a man who had an amputated arm, drugged through the dirt all these years. Family members even lost jobs because of this person being wrongfully convicted, and still having to wear that to this day. And he's still coming through, but yet the person who did it is on their deathbed and will never get chance to pay for what he did in the court system.
And this man was
a black man.
Yeah. His mother lost her job behind this. So imagine what his record looks like trying to walk into the workforce, trying to get that expunged, to get the job that he always wanted. And this young man wanted to go to college because I talked to him about it. He had all intentions of going to college and technical school. One arm. Awesome mechanic. He drives 18-wheelers.
pin this murder on him.
Yeah, that's exactly what you said. Pin this murder on him. You know, and I overheard some of the you know, and my heart goes out to the Crystal Drexler's family, Brittany Drexler's family. You know, my heart goes out to them. They suffered for 13 years, Ebony, 13 years, but yet still, I've yet to hear anyone apologize to the Black community and Timothy Till and his family for dragging them through the rug and the rubbish, you know, of killing someone that he had nothing to do with. Had his father tied up into it, his younger brother, everybody trying to say he did it. But that man, he maintained his innocence up until the day that the killer came out and said, I killed him. I killed him. And they had him as a lead from the beginning. So, you know, and Timothy Taylor he was in jail and all behind.
Well, you know, this is why right now they need to get rid of the death penalty, because you have people who are falsely accused. Some of these people even are convicted because they're trying to find somebody that they can pin these murders on. And what really magnifies the situation is that in South Carolina, can you still hear me, Mr. Neal?
Yeah.
In South Carolina, we're not doing lethal injections anymore. We're doing the firing squad, you know, yeah. And with the firing, so if a person is on death row, they have two options now. They got electric chair, or they can choose the firing squad. And that is so barbaric. Imagine this young man, 16 years old with one arm, if he was actually convicted of it. He is dealing with the backlash of it being public. But what if he was in a situation where they put him on death row, like this young man?
That young man there, he was 14-year-old, Ebony.
14 years old. He was at home watching his little sister. And they came, when I say they, the police came while his parents were not home, while he was watching his little sister, and they took him to jail. They quickly accused him of the death of a little girl. They
10 white juries, one Hispanic.
One Hispanic. They found him guilty, and he was so little that they end up having to get books to put in the electric chair so he would be tall enough so that they could electrocute this child.
Ebony,
They
set him on the Bible that he walked in with.
Jesus.
Ain't that something?
This is why we have to be so careful. We have a person in our community right here in Georgetown wrongfully convicted. Meanwhile, you got a white man who they should have been investigating a long time ago. This is why we can't forget these type of things. We can't forget. This is why they need to find out about this whole insurrection and get every last one of them, because a threat to justice anywhere.
There's a call for justice everywhere.
Everywhere.
And the interesting thing about this, Ebony, you know, how wrong it is for them to have not apologized to that family. No one want to step out and say we were wrong. Eventually that will happen, though. It needs to happen. And we're going to call for that. We're going to call for that to happen. They have to apologize to that family and that community for dragging them through this mess, you know. And going through the community is one thing. If that was the area they might have thought it went with, that's one thing. And I don't knock that. But it's also a time when you come back to, well, we was wrong and this is where we found them and stuff. We apologize for going through and put you all in the position to make you feel as though, you know, some kind of way because, you know, a death happened here. You know, someone needs to say something to these people and families, humans, that they have just stepped on and kept walking, you know, because it's important. These people whole life have been changed and will never be the same. That young man's life will never be the same. No. I was at the news conference in McClellanville the other day, and just standing there, watch his mother just fall down in tears. She could not even hold it, Ebony. She broke down, and it just ripped your gut out to think about. Folks still walking around here, law enforcement officers, not saying, "Hey,
I'm
we
sorry.
made a mistake. I'm sorry."
Is that simple?
It's that simple.
It's
Sorry, we
easy.
made a mistake. We made a mistake because that was a big mistake.
Huge.
Yeah, turned that mother lost the job because the company she works for said it was bringing too much attention to the company. Not that they've done anything wrong, but that's the impact.
The impact
of that young man being accused. And I've met him so many times. Been down to the courthouse with him, been down to Charleston with him, marching around the block there at the courthouse, been down to the community with them, just doing prayer vigil and stuff. Went to North Santee Community Center there, just trying to uplift him, just to keep him going as a human being, let him know he is somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And people stands with them. It's important that just thank God for organizations like NAN and Legal Defense and all these folks that step out there and just consistently stayed with it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Stayed with it.
Stay on top of it,
Yeah. And we have to continue to support that family because they're going to be reaching out. They need more work now than they needed before. Just to try to get their life back together.
That's right. Mr. Neal.
Yes.
What is the fate of the steel mill?
Well, that's a strong question. There'll still have to be a decision made by the Zoning Appeals Board, the Board of Zoning Appeals for the city in Georgetown. And there's a lot of cry out and stuff. And there was a great presentation at the last Zoning Appeals meeting that caused them to defer and bring in more and subpoena more persons to bring some facts to what's going on with the steel mill. And they're having a press conference on Monday at Union Hall in Georgetown. And they're asking everyone to come out. The press conference is 10 o'clock on Monday. It's at the local 7898 Hall, 1515 Butt Street in Georgetown. It's the local President James Sanderson and the members, activists, and supporters. And everyone that's in the community of making sure that people have a fair and livable wage, you need to be out there in arms and making sure that you follow up on June 1st at the City Hall in Georgetown, which is the local city police station, past Kentucky Fried Chicken. Be there. They're trying to get the venue moved as of last night as of Thursday night at the city council meeting. That did not happen. It's like it fell on deaf ear. It's like, and it's intentional, Ebony, not to hear the people. When you put public hearing at the end of the agenda to drag people out in sessions that they are getting paid for now. They're getting paid to be there. The city councilmen are getting paid, but they're dragging out the citizens that pays them.
Right.
Just to have a voice on what's going on within the city of Georgetown.
Yeah.
And what affects the city of Georgetown affects the county of Georgetown.
Right.
That steel mill provided funding for so many families right here in Plantersville. We're not in the city, but people in Plantersville worked at that steel mill. So everyone that had a family member that worked there and grandchildren and children of grandchildren needs to be at these meetings and fight for that, because that's what put them through colleges. That gave them a livable wage. That's what built their homes, and homes that people are still living in today. These people are dead and gone. Some of these steel workers and family members and generations after are still living in those homes, Ebony, that they're built with livable wages. Great homes. I walk by them and ride by them every day here in Georgetown, in Plantersville, Georgetown, Choppy. That steel mill have provided for the families of Georgetown, and it's now time for Georgetown to stand up for the steel mill, make sure they still exist. There's 65 people working there right now, but just think about that, Ebony. 65 people feeding how many mouths? Some of them feeding children and grandchildren in the same home or providing. You see what I'm saying? So it's not just that 65 people that they're affecting. It's those people that they're providing for also that's being affected.
That's right. It's a huge deal. It's a trickle down effect. All of us connected, and right. Nobody really knows the fate of the steel mill right now, but that's why we need to keep on top of not only of what's going on, but also understanding the dynamics of everything that's going on. There are a lot of moving parts. There are a lot of things that we need to consider. And sometimes it's not necessarily about a right or a wrong, but we have to acknowledge and deal with some of this stuff that is going on. There is a quote that's made by Mr. James Baldwin, who was before his time. He said, "Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it's faced."
Yeah.
We have to face these issues that are going on. And when it comes down to the fate of the steel mill, there are a lot of different things that need to be considered while we think that we throw out our opinions about what should happen with it. Or, it looks bad, or they need to do this, they need to do that, they this, they that. Y'all, we are they. Who is they?
Hey.
We are they.
Yeah, we are they. Pushing to, and it's sad because it's like this new administration, it's like everything is on deaf ear. And I've never seen anything like it. It looks like Putin making decisions to go into war against Ukraine because he wants control. And it's the same situation at Georgetown.
Same narrative.
White,
same
capitalist people, our own city council, realtors and those that's padding the pockets of their buddies at the expense of the citizens by getting rid of that steel mill and putting up hotels and motels, because that's the whole thing is about the tourists of Georgetown. It's the tourist city of Georgetown.
It's not bringing any good jobs, sustainable jobs.
Yeah.
It's only a tourist thing. And so who does that help in the end while you're drawing all these outsiders? And there's nothing wrong with tourism. I love tourism.
Yeah.
But the problem is whenever you don't create jobs that are good jobs, that are high paying jobs, that offer benefits and things of that nature, then you're not doing a justice to the people. You're pushing the people further and further out. And to me, I feel like that's what they want.
And if you really want to test the water on that avenue, go right to the Hampton Inn, go to the St. James Inn and all these places, and ask those workers what are they making an hour. And that'll give you a in your face.
Yep.
That's in your face. And ask them, who are they? And I guarantee the ones that's working in there look like us.
Yeah.
Okay? So that's the job that they want us to have versus the job that we have with Georgetown Steel. That's the job they want us to have. It's called the new modern day enslaved labor that they're imposing off the back of Black people and people of color. The bottom line, the only people make money in those places is the hotel owner, which don't look like us, and the children of the hotel owners that runs it, or they're related. It don't look like us. I guarantee that.
Yeah. Okay. They want you to get the scraps that's left over, but they don't want Black and brown folks to sit at the table whenever they're making these decisions. And again, we're talking about equity, inclusion,
and
equality. That's the only way. Any subject you want to bring up, let's talk about equity. Let's talk about the equity. And until you make things equitable across the board, then you can't talk about the rest of it.
It's an injustice. And I listened to Mia McLeod at the when she was in Georgetown last week, and everything that people of color was talking about, she is hitting on point. Livable wage. She visits Georgetown Steel. I'm looking to see what other elected officials going to walk and go to Georgetown Steel or be at that press conference on Monday at 10 o'clock in the morning, May 23rd, just in case you don't know what Monday is, it's May 23rd, 10 o'clock in the morning. We're challenging all elected officials, everyone, to go out there and say, we are for the dredging of the port of Georgetown and for steel workers and for union workers. I challenge anyone to say it, because union brings on equity and equality and livable wage. Bottom line.
Well,
That's what it brings on. So union fights for people of color and people that looks to have a livable wage, not people that's sitting back saying, well, they could get it their own way. No, it needs to be balance and equality.
It does.
When you have that right to work at will state crap they got going on here, let me tell you something. That's nothing but fire a black man at will when I feel like it. If he opens his mouth, I'll fire him. That's what it boils down to.
Hey.
No power.
Hey, good morning, Miss McLean. Good to see you this morning. But and I'm glad you pointed that out. And I did forget about that. Senator McLeod did come and she visited that steel mill. Yeah. You know, and I'm agreeing with you. I am interested to see who else is going to go out there and see about the needs of the people of the state, to try to understand the state of our community, the state of the jobs, and possibly seeing what can be done about the steel mill. So
yeah, we got county councilmen, we got House of Representatives, we have senators have not stepped their foot out there yet.
Yeah,
we don't need nobody peeping from behind the bush when it comes down to our people. We need to be standing in the front, not in the rear. Bottom line. Joe Cunningham is there today at 2 o'clock at the Winyard Center. People need to go out there and ask them, where are you at with the fate of the steel mill? Because I'm going to ask him that question. I'm going out there to ask him that question at 2:30 today at the Winyard Auditorium. Someone needs to ask the question.
Yeah, hard questions.
Hard questions.
The nice questions are nice, but we need to be strong enough to ask people the questions that are hard. And we appreciate you so much for joining today's Spotlight, which is brought to you by the Georgetown branch number 5520, where we are here to educate, motivate, and activate. There's a bunch of things going on today. Marilyn was on earlier with the Food, Beer, and Wine Festival that's going on right now. It ends at 6 o'clock tonight, so you still have time. We need to hurry up and get off because there are some other things going on. Some folks are coming through. You need to get to know them. Joe Cunningham at 2:30. There's a grand opening of a Gullah business today with P. Richards and her family. We had it been in hopes that she would be able to come on and share a little bit of what was going on out there. But
well, that's the Gullah boat ride tour, and with the Richards family, and they have started a great business. It's right off of Fuzzy Drive in the Oatland community. Go down and see what's going on. Go to the water. Hey, it's something about the water.
Absolutely. It's something about it. We talked about challenges with Georgetown County School District with employment and wages. We want to remind you that June 14th is primary elections. Make sure to go out there. Early voting starts May 31st. Starts early election. Make sure you go out to the right precinct. Go to scvotes.gov if you're not sure where to go. And we also talked about the state of the steel mill, which nobody really knows right now, but it's important to keep our ears, eyes open about what's going on so that we can have a proper understanding of what is actually going on. If you're watching this, go ahead and give us a thumbs up. We do appreciate your support. It does help the channel. Also, remember that we have a YouTube page. Please make sure to go on and subscribe. Hit the bell notification so that you'll know when we are live, and you can see the information there as well. Also, by chance, check out our website. Thank you so much, Ms. Green, for joining today's show. We are always happy to see you on here. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to our branch. We want you to stay in the know. Not only do we want you to stay in the know, it doesn't do any good just to know about it. We got to do something about it. Get involved, participate. Participation may mean you just showing up to meetings so that you'll know what's going on. Keep in mind, we do have a youth council, number 5959, where the children are constantly working on different things. Please feel free to support us because indeed we are stronger together. So if you would like to send a donation, we got Cash App GCSD to our Cash App, or you can send us through the mail. Mr. Neal, anything before we close out?
We just asking people to just come out and support not just the NAACP, because when we come out, we are fighting for the people of Georgetown and fighting for the livelihood of those that's been disenfranchised and overlooked for these situations. We are fighting for housing reform. We also fighting for affordable housing. You know, we are fighting for fair labor and wages and stuff in the school district and industries and government. We also fighting for the education of our children, fair and equitable education. We're fighting for public education. That's what we are fighting for. We're not fighting for choice vouchers and stuff of that nature. But that takes money from the public education system. We are fighting for magnet schools and stuff that brings in different perspective of their education to get our children back enthused and involved. And we're also fighting for Black leadership in the Georgetown County School District. Black leadership that's being tampered with and affected because of flat out discrimination across the board. That's what we are fighting for. So come out and support us and support fair labor. And we must take care of our community. And June 1st is a key day. Thank you so much, Ms. Tamiko Bay. Thank you for what you do and how you're doing it. God bless you, and just have a smile upon you. Just pray for us. The NAACP, hey, we know stronger than you make us. God bless you. Join us. Hey, we fight for you.
Yep. We will be right here next Saturday at 11 a.m. Come back and see us. Until then, stay safe. We love you, and we'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you, Ebony.
Thank you, Mr. Neal, for your leadership.